Yep, that'll do. So right now I'm just trying to like rough it out and get some general symmetry going on here. Started with this side here. Get something approximately what I'm looking for out of it, and then just try to slowly match it on the other side. Get the proportions right. It's kind of chilly in here, and the clay gets pretty hard on its own. So I actually put it in front of a little portable heater. No, Venti, you might be too loud. There we go. Just to soften it up. I'm probably gonna have to put it back in front of the heater again in a few minutes. So what I'm doing here is I'm just running my fingers over in the same place on either side and just kind of feeling where it doesn't feel the same. I actually don't like to use tools at all, but sometimes you kind of have to, because my fingers ain't that small. I intend to actually look out from these little holes right here. So when I do the mold, depending how well it casts, I may just have to like carve out these holes a little better so I can see. This this is actually taken from my head roughly, and then smoothed over. So hopefully it'll fit me better than most of my other things have in the past. Like, I want him to look stern, but like not angry necessarily. So this might be overdoing it a little bit. I don't know. I actually almost want him to look kind of like vaguely bored. Like it's all just kind of beneath him. don't think I dig those. Maybe this brow line is fine here. See here, this isn't really symmetrical. This is a little too far to the side here. That's right, this is just a placeholder. I'm probably going to do the front of his face here in some sort of like stronger resin, and then just you do the back in more of like an EVA foam or something, just for the ease of not having to mold an entire head. It's cheaper, it's lighter. It doesn't need to be resin. Most of the focus is going to be on the face here, where I'm going to want the details to come through. Like I haven't decided how much actual humanoid skin texture I'm going to put into this. You know, this is going to be Apocalypse, and so he's going to be very biomechanical in general. Just a trace of like human left in him. I don't know if you can tell, I like put little ridges on the lips here. I don't know if they're gonna stay or not though. It'd be kind of cool, just kind of have like a little hint of human skin and skin texture and stuff in a few places, and then it just kind of, let's see if you can, this thing is heavy as hell. Yeah, something like that, but I don't know. I really just don't want to play with this until I'm very, very happy with where it's at. The chief challenge for this costume, I think, is going to be the getting a good face sculpt that fits me well and I can see through and looks fantastic, and the scope of the actual bodysuit itself, I mean, it's going to be like biomechanical armor, which isn't going to be terribly hard to make. What's going to be hard is getting it to fit on me properly and be able to like get in and out of it with some degree of ease. Does it move well? Is it making all sorts of noises where it's like the pieces of armor are kind of rubbing up against each other? Can one person get in and out of it, or do I need assistance? Because, you know, I usually go to cons alone on my costume days. So it can be a little bit of a challenge. I'd like to gain some height with this costume too, because, you know, he's like super huge, and I'm not small by any means, but I'd like to have that kind of slightly larger than life quality about me. So I'm thinking about getting, not stilts, but like they make shoes that have like lifts in them, and see how those work. I mean, if I got like an extra like 5 inches or something from like lifted shoes, that'd be pretty solid height for me. Yeah, about 6.5 feet or so, something like that. But not sure about this angle here, but for right now, I'm not going to worry about it. So this is clay that's been sitting out, and I don't know how well you can see it, but it tends to get pretty dry. See how it just kind of cracks apart like that? But if you warm it up and beat the crap out of it, it will soften up some. Or if you heat it up with like a heater of some sort. I've, you know, been known to take a big clump of clay and throw it in the oven on low temperature and warm it up that way. You gotta be careful with stuff like that though. It'll melt. It's got a very low burn temperature on it. Kind of want this area to be kind of like dark and biomechanical. So ultimately, it's mostly a lighter face. It's almost going to have a slight skull-like quality to it, just to kind of add the intensity. It's much easier to sculpt organic shapes with clay than mechanical shapes with straight lines and hard edges and stuff like that. It looks pretty crappy and lumpy if you don't do a good job with it. That was kind of a challenge with raw, trying to get all these like straight hard edges on his mask, when clay really just wants to be round and lumpy and whatnot. Yeah, this is the part of the sculpture I'm like, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be symmetrical, which is kind of my way of just being lazy. I love this one. Is this Tempest, I think? You also have to be kind of conscientious. So when you do pour the mold, as the resin fills up, are you gonna make these little caves where the resin won't fill it in all the way? I may actually have to invert this guy upside down. So I pour the resin into the chin and it'll flow this way. We'll see what the actual final sculpt shape ends up looking like. And do what I gotta do at that point. It'll be difficult. This sculpt of my head is done with plaster. This thing is actually incredibly heavy. I don't know how much it weighs, probably like 25 pounds or something ridiculous like that. I should have filled it with like styrofoam on the inside or something to lighten it up, but too late now. This is time to just kind of like throw random ideas and see how they look. Just go like how do I like that? I kind of do like that actually. Where do you want the lines to flow? Do you want it to flow? Do you want it to just be kind of disorganized mess? See, like when you've got this kind of like ridge here that comes down, you gotta be careful when you were to pour the mold, because as the mold starts to kind of fill up, it's not necessarily going to go up into these little chambers here. It might fill up the nose to a degree. You know, I might have to actually mold it more like at this angle. I think we'll probably get good fill at this angle. Which means I'll put like some sort of like spout here to pour in the mold from there. Let's de-emphasize this thing just a little bit though, actually. Let's... Oh, Beethoven, you're so good. Not my favorite, but you are good. You know, I meant to de-emphasize it, and I think I may have overemphasized it now a little bit. No, that's not gonna work. No, let's take that off. Oh yeah, that might be better just like that, actually. I found those lines to be too straight. I don't want straight lines. I want kind of flowing lines. I want something more like that, perhaps. This might be one of the more organic parts of the mask here. Kind of the analogy I think of sometimes is like Lamborghini versus Mercedes. Whereas Lamborghini is incredibly angular in their styling. You know, it's got that kind of like stealth fighter look about them, which I think is really kind of a little dated at this point, to be honest. But versus Mercedes, which goes for an incredibly smooth, you know, organic kind of look about their vehicles, which I also personally think they go a little too far in that direction at times. But I think your best bet is going to be something a little bit more in between, perhaps. Like a Ferrari or Porsche usually have a much more smooth combination of the pair of qualities. See, this is just like This is just like a real pain in the ass to try to sculpt because it's just so deep in there and my fingers just can't get there. I think we're going to have a lot of stuff like that on this costume, on this mask anyways. I want to try to keep the mask as small as possible and as close to my head as possible, as the smaller the head appears relative to a giant hulking body, the more big the body's going to look. It's kind of like one little trick to make a sculpt look more big or adult, is make the head look more small relative to the rest of the body. You know, the bigger your head is in proportion to the rest of your body, the more you're taking on like a childlike quality, you know, as children have like disproportionately large heads relative to the rest of them. But so yeah, we want to try to keep this thing pretty close. It'll be a little difficult. I'm hoping this fits my face like a glove for once, but there's no guarantee. And plus, I'm going to have some sort of fabric cowl coming up under my head and going and mostly covering my neck that the mask is going to sit on top of. So it's not going to sit perfectly flush with my head. And you'd be surprised how much things like a fabric seam pressing on your head will give you like the most brilliant headache. After about 10 minutes, it's quite impressive actually. Now, do we want to just blend this piece in with the brow? Maybe just keep something like that, like some kind of like third eye thing about it. Well, shit, I guess he's Egyptian. What is it with me in these like Egyptian style themed sculpts? I don't know, they're so cool, that's what it is. I just like it. How do we feel about this look? Yeah, I think that's kind of okay. At least for right now. I do want this mouth and jawline to actually move too. So I'm thinking some sort of like hinge thing here, and it's gonna break off like so, and then right under here, this will be dark mechanical and probably fabric underneath it with these pieces. This will be like chopped up, you know, in various ways, and then glued onto the fabric. So hopefully, as you open the jaw, these will kind of stretch and move a little bit. That's probably going to be the biggest challenge of this entire mask, is trying to get this to actually work. How do we feel about something like that? sure I necessarily want to draw attention to the nostrils. As you might be able to like see my little nose up in there. Ideally, I'll be able to breathe through these nostrils just fine. In a perfect world, but we'll see. Let's see. I think I kind of like that. And then we can just go like blop, blop. It's more that organic look I was talking about, you know, more rounded and curving. Playing around with it right now, seeing how I like this stuff. This will all need to be kind of like re-smoothed out. And then very carefully carve these little details back into it. Yeah, I think I like that. I really do want this to be something like, the closer you look at like his face, the more like subtle little details you might see, like even like something like that or something. But that'll be more like the final round of detailing. Hit him up. I really want the paint job on him to be amazing. You know, he's portrayed as bluish and purplish and metallic and whatnot. And I think I really want to go over it initially with black and then hit it with like some sort of blue-purple color shifting paint. At least in the darker areas and the rest of his body. I mean, his face is going to be a lot more light gray to white. There's some pictures online I found of different like cyborg faces that were very heavily inspiring for me with the look that I want for him, that I'm going to try and kind of emulate a little bit. I kind of want to simulate something of the ridges in an actual face and skull at the same time. That's not bad. Stern but not angry, perhaps. Yeah, trying to get this stuff to be like nice and square with like crisp edges will be difficult. think if the faces, I originally kind of wanted the eyes to be like a nice glowing white, but that's not really going to pop very well if the rest of the face is a very light gray as well. It's kind of like the one thing I liked about Apocalypse in the movie is when his eyes would go all white, and it's like, oh, he actually kind of looks cool for a second. I was not really a big fan of the way they did his look in the movie, and as one of my more favorite villains in that universe, it was slightly annoying. But when his eyes went all white, I thought it was pretty cool looking. And so I was gonna like maybe do something like that. I even bought the white clay, but you know, if his face is all white, then white eyes are not gonna pop at all. So I might get some sort of like fluorescent red paint, or if I'm really ambitious, get some sort of red lighting in place so they literally glow. It's gonna be hard because there's really just like not gonna be a lot of space here for me to put lights and stuff like that. You know, my eyes are gonna be like a 1/4 inch inside of this. I don't even know how well this will. I mean, are my eyelashes literally going to be brushing against the inside of this eye here? It's, I don't know. We'll find out. You know, I've done you know, all sorts of things in the name of cosplay to wreck my visibility. Raw had terrible visibility. Oh my god. Yeah, one of the worst. And it fogged up. It fogged up dreadfully too. That was that during COVID? I seem to remember. I think I had like a mask, a fabric mask on inside of Raw, and it would cover my nose, and I would like lift my nose up to rub it on the insides of his lenses in the mask to defog them so I could see. So about every like 15 to 30 seconds or something, I'm like rubbing the inside of my lenses with my nose the entire time at MegaCon. That was rough. It was horrifying too. I had invested probably about $700 worth of product into making Raw. And it's like, you know, if you've been to like a con, like these aren't the kind of places you really just want to goof around with like a $700 prop. It's slightly nerve-wracking, especially for a costume that like not everyone's really going to know what that is. And so it was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to wear my Venom costume tomorrow and take 10,000 pictures and not have to worry if people bump me and I trip and fall over because I'm wearing a giant, you know, couch suit. Yeah, it's just couch fabric foam all over it. You know, that's nice. That's good. I like that. There. Apocalypse won't be that expensive though. It's gonna be 99% EVA foam. Good old EVA foam. Everybody loves Warbler. I really don't like Warbler that much. It's super expensive. It's rough. I don't know. I think it's kind of overrated personally, but I know it has its uses, but I mean, it's got like durability on its side for sure, but EVA foam, like, yeah, combust and wrinkle and stuff like that, but you know, it's so cheap and easy to fix at the same time too, though. Should I put like a little scarab or something on his forehead? I mean, I don't know. I think I kind of de-emphasize the Egyptian aspect and overemphasize the alien technology aspect of him more. Should I do something like this? Just like a nice intensity to his face. Yeah, something like that. Oh, my chat's disabled for this live stream? Sorry guys, I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, whatever. Yeah, I never do live stuff, but that might change though, I don't know. So just working on my apocalypse mask here. This is like a 2025 projected. Actually, no, it's 20. Yeah, 2025. We're about to have MegaCon here in like 2 weeks. So I've got my my Carnage mask going for my Carnage costume, but not, if that's anything like my Venom costume, it'll just be like insanely popular. But Apocalypse has always been on my mind for a costume after the movie, that X-Men movie, which I really didn't like the way they portrayed Apocalypse in there. I thought he looked pretty silly. I don't know. I saw some concept art for him too. There's so much good concept art out there for Apocalypse, and they went in a completely different direction, but whatever. I'll do my own costume. Should I like not ignore his chin? Mechanical soul patch, maybe? That kind of works. Yeah. I mean, they tried to do that with the movie, kind of go like mechanical blending into like organic features. I just didn't care for it, how they did it, but you know, I'm pretty opinionated in the world of art, so I'm probably not the, the target audience to win over. Yeah, technically, if you're doing a mold of something like this, you don't need to make everything out of clay. I mean, I could take a guitar pick and stick it on there, and it'll be part of the mold. So, I mean, if I have other random things in here that just use them, the mold will work off of them just as well, too. So, maybe like some like model airplane parts just stuck in there. Although when you do that, you do run the risk of pieces of mechanical components looking perfectly straight and mechanical, and then the rest of your sculpt looking a little more lumpy. So it's not gonna, it's gonna look a little off. It's gonna look exactly like what it is. So you gotta be careful with stuff like that. But or you can always take super sculpty, sculpt, you know, piping or gears or something with Sculpty, bake it, and then just shove Sculpey on here and then mold it from there. There's no reason to presume that your molding needs to be all of one material. It really doesn't. I don't know, I'm always trying to figure out ways to cheapen or speed up the molding process, because it's expensive. Like smooth on products are freaking crazy expensive, and like getting more expensive. So you see here the chin, the clay, that's because it's getting kind of cold and it gets a little brittle like that. So you hit it with a heat gun, it gets nice and glossy. It's much more soft now, but that'll last only about a minute or two as it cools off again. But it's a good way to kind of like hit your final sculpt and make it a little bit more smooth and shiny. then you also run the risk of melting away details and stuff like that. I did that a little bit with raw, but yeah, you just gotta be careful. Because I think as the clay heats up, it kind of expands slightly too. So like if you've got, let's see if I can show you, if you've got like this very kind of like crisp line like this, let's see. Maybe not too much. Yeah, you probably can't see too well, but yeah, you can lose some detail with it, but you can also, you might want to lose the detail too, because I mean, if you look closely at some other sculpts and stuff like that well, you're not going to be able to have access to them, but I mean, you can literally see fingerprints in the sculpt itself. Because the molding process, I mean, smooth on products do capture everything. Maybe more than you want. Don't have to worry too much about this side being perfectly symmetrical to this side, because you're not going to be able to see both sides at the same time. But head on, you definitely want some symmetry going as much as possible. Yeah, this is just going to be what the final step of this master is going to be like, just capturing all these little tiny angles and trying to smooth it out and clean it up some. I don't know, my philosophy with cosplay is it needs to look good from about 4 or 5 feet away, and if there's no point fighting for details that you're not going to see unless you're like 6 inches away from it. I'm just lazy. I am lazy with cosplay. I can't. I tend to like really kind of lose enthusiasm and momentum the longer a project drags on. My shoes are usually like the lame, just the dumbest, lamest thing. It's like practically like cardboard cut over my shoe and just spray painted a color. Like I'm just done with it by that point. Oh no, oh, hang on. Did my heater just die? Oh, there it goes. Just for demonstration's sake, really zap it. I mean, it's like mayonnaise now, which is very helpful when you need to like quickly move some clay around. It's not going to fight you at all, but you gotta be careful. You may over soften it and lose some details, and then you have to redo it again. Yeah. There we go.